on the last day of the round of 32 of the Challenger League. We are here on the one and the only, the standard Overgrowth. And our blue player up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have from Team TA Pro, Team Ascension Pro Team, is what I'm assuming what that is. Yep. It is... Do we have the intro names?
No.
Creature.
And yes, it worked out quite well. His opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, playing the lovely purple color, representing Boreal Gaming, the Purple Zerg, Carnage. Ooh. I am excited to see this game go down. Person in chat, Canadian voice. Yes, Ender Sword is quite clearly Canadian. It just shows from how he looks. It's definitely ethnically Canadian.
I am ethnically Canadian. And I can tell, you can tell by the fact that I'm zooming in myself on Boreal Snowflake. That's part of his decal.
Well, that
Carnage is like Team Boreal's Snowflake decal.
Yeah, I don't think he's from Canada though. Carnage is from America. Boreal is kind of deceptive right there. It's Snowflake, but they're not from Canada. Start this off. We'll see a third being taken by Carnage. Well, Creature Creature will throw it into the pylon. Interesting right there. I'm guessing he's going to let it get almost done and just cancel it, and that'll buy him a little bit of time, because it doesn't look like he's going to do any sort of cannon rush type things, because he is going Cybernetics Core, or he's going Gateway Expand. So, very interesting from Creature. I really love that early, I wouldn't even call probe aggression, but just that early denial of any bases by the Protoss in these situations.
Yeah, definitely. And that type of thing where, you know, someone's trying to take a third like that, you know, their spawning pool is so late, you can be really obnoxious. That's almost one of those situations where I might even let the pylon finish and say, deal with it.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, oh, kind of weighing it back and forth. Well, I can let it finish and just be like, okay, screw up your entire build. But I kind of want to be on time with my build. And so exactly. a little bit of a give or take right there onto what to do. But so far, it looks pretty standard out of both players. Now, I'm wondering if Creature's going to go into a more aggressive style we've seen with some players, because right now, getting out that Zealot in the Mothership Core, and in some of the previous groups, we saw the Protoss players just versus Zerg be incredibly aggressive, setting the first Zealot in the Mothership Core over, and I'm really curious whether that's going to happen, because especially off of 3 bases, Carnage being not super greedy, but definitely a little bit greedy here.
Yeah, it looks like he is going over, and I do agree with that decision. You've got the ability to pull it back. Your Mothership Core will have energy by the time you're really up there, and he's being greedy enough that you have to do something to at least feign punishment on him and prevent this from being all drones. And we see Boreal Carnage is actually making 8-lings.
Yeah, off the back of this, Creature is moving in. Warp Gate almost done, and it has been being chrono boosted. But the one thing that'll be going for Creature right here is that Carnage, I mean, he's only got 4 lings, obviously, but there's no speed, and it's not going to be done for at least another minute and 10 seconds. So he's going to have a window of opportunity right here, and we'll see if how well he takes it. He is starting to warp in units, or at least getting Warp Gate done. But Carnage getting a nice angle on this pylon. It's going to be very, very hard to defend this. 4 Zealots being warped in. And as I say that, actually, right now, Creature is in a great position just versus these lings for now.
Yeah, the only thing that would hold him back here, 3 queens is still a fair number. Yeah. He could try and time warp and catch them with Zealots, but then he loses his escape. And he will time warp, actually, the group of lings.
Oh, Mothership Core goes down. Definitely, the Zealots pushing back these queens right here, all very, very low health, and Transfuse barely getting up, but won't actually be out on time. Lings being pushed back, metabolic boost only about 10 seconds away, no Mothership Core in the sight because it was destroyed. These Zealots are at a little bit of a bad position right here. I feel like, at least with the Mothership Core, they have that support that they need, they can just get out. But right now, he really needs to commit to take down this third, or they won't be able to retreat, because they can't retreat with speed Lings running at them. Lings will be going for the Zealot, probably going for that pylon first to try to remove any sort of backup, but they realize, oh crap, too many Zealots, they have to go for the Zealots. Zealots turn around, get a great concave, or opposite of a concave since they're against that hatch, and still focus down that hatch right there.
Yeah, do finish it. There's a lot of lings here. They're going to have a long walk home, assuming that they are in fact going home, and roaches are coming out, which are pretty effective against Zealots, although there is eventually a number at which they overwhelm. But yeah, I would imagine he kind of turns to walk home as soon as he sees a roach or two.
Yeah, I agree. These zealots also not all at half health, but all pretty damaged. I feel like he definitely wants to walk home now before anything gets too severe, because he's just not going to be able to engage with these. And this is so many minerals invested into this. He can stand to lose that pylon and run home. But trying to micro right now, trying to go for those roaches. The roaches cutting quite well so far. Ling's being annoying and trying. Ling's actually not engaging. Army is split for creature. Ling's going for the main or at least the main 5 zealots, all dead. Rest of the zealots being targeted down. So many, or not so many roaches, but just first these zealots do nothing. And right now I feel like creature is putting a little bit too much into this. And back home he does have the Robo Bay down on a forge, but not quite anything out of this yet. Does have 3 sentries though, so that'll work out well for him. Off the back of this, what do you think creature should really transition into? Just try to defend up here?
Yeah, I mean, definitely defense for the midterm. The roaches have just come out. He doesn't really have anything for that just yet. He's got a few sentries out, so if he can get out Immortals, which is exactly what he is making, and then transition from that point. So you've done your damage. He took some losses with the zealots, but he also knew that third, because he was there providing the pressure, the third wasn't rebuilt right away, whereas often you kill it and immediately it's back up. It took a while, so he's got a little breathing room and he's disrupted a lot. So he just has to, move into what looks like Immortals, and then the addition of actually more gateways. So he may opt for a very heavy Immortal push in a little bit.
I like the Immortal push idea, but for the more gates, you just spent so much into those zealots. I feel like your economy's a little bit behind. It actually isn't right now, but definitely putting so much into those zealots right there. Mothership Core doing a little bit of harassment at the hatch. We'll have to pull back. It won't be able to beat that queen right there. And I just like to say from creature, you don't really think about it. It's a little bit obvious, but when you attack, that's also scouting. So as you were saying, the whole time he's attacking, he knows the third isn't there. Knows the third isn't there, and so you don't really think about it. But that also is a little bit of a plus right there for creature, putting him in a nice position. Carnage moving into roaches, not super heavy though, only pumping out a few to stay safe, getting roach speed. Actually, as I say that, pumping out about 7 more roaches there, but so far not being extremely aggressive. But definitely in this early game, 7-8 roaches are a lot of damage, but against 3 Immortals, and what do we have? 10 sentries, this is going to be very hard to beat for Carnage, just because of how strong this early Immortal push, or at least early Immortal sentry push is, but there's no proxy pylon.
No, he is, however, getting the Warp Prism, which is almost out here. It's actually going to get spotted by the Lings as it comes out. He will have to turn around here and prevent this run by. Or, well, not prevent it, but clean it up.
This is pretty key for Carnage pretty key for Carnage to do this. Number 1, almost pulling creature back. Number 2, getting a little bit of damage into the main as whatever he can, but it looks like it will be cleaned up. Creature moving forward with the Time Warp, my bad. With the Warp Prism, Roach is trying to get a good concave on this attack before it actually happens. And with 3 Immortals, I mean, I just feel like there's so much wall just to allow these Immortals to just bang away at these Roaches, which pretty much obliterate them. Looks like we do have a Guardian Shield going up, some nice force fields, but there's a little bit of a flanks, but only of Lings. Not doing the best here. Roaches will try to focus down one of the Immortals. Well, I don't think they'll actually kill it, though. Nice Time Warp. 2 Time Warps by Creature. Stalkers moving in. Immortals also moving in more. Roaches having to pull back, trying to get a better concave here, but they actually have to pull back. 5 Roaches, 20 more Lings coming out. Zealots trying to engage desperately into these Roaches, and they will push it back. So many Stalkers right now, it's just really hard to engage with Roaches on these with such small numbers, especially with so many Stalkers. These Immortals now definitely don't want to get in this position like this. A couple force fields go down, 1 Immortal will be targeted down, a 3rd hatch going down. Stalkers moving forward right now. Creature's done so much damage in this position and is really utilizing it well, and it says Carnage is, actually going for a little bit of a flank right here, not even a flank, going on the right-hand side. Drones being pulled, Roaches attacking. The Warp Prism will get those micros of the Immortals, though.
Yeah, there is no real force fields left to speak of here, but he has still got the Warpins going. He's got the much larger army. So many drones have been pulled, only 26 drones alive, and Carnage is on his last legs as his main army gets cleaned up. And
GG! Welcome back to ASL Challenger League Group H, round of 32, and this is the 2nd map in this best of 3. We do see the lovely Zerg in the top right-hand corner, Carnage playing for Boreal Gaming. And his opponent, Ender.
His opponent, down here on the bottom left-hand corner, being as awesome as the Bruins, is from Team Ascension's Pro Team. It is our now red Protoss player. He is Creature.
Oh, we got that color change right there. Attempting at intimidation, but it doesn't look like we're going to see that. Or actually, we may see that, but it's too early to tell with this type of color intimidation. Really gets into your opponent's head, though. They just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
We do see, interestingly enough, an early scout from Carnage. Definitely a little bit wary about what, or an early drone scout, at least 2 drones. I wonder if he's going to throw down maybe a hidden hatch, or if he's just really trying to be especially careful about a little bit of proxy here. Will spot that drone, trying to get it, and he almost catches it. Going for a third base like he did in the first game, I think, though. Or going for early third base.
Yeah, I think this was an attempt to stop the block, and yet it didn't. This time up, the spawning pool is along the way, but we're at about the same position. Here, he's not going to struggle as much against it. Maybe Creature's going to let this... Nope. Not finish this time, but he still has the probe there, and that's a difference. So he could just put it down again.
Yeah. You always got to get rid of that. In this case, the probe is the production here, but this drone actually may take it out. It's kind of a funny... Literally, the worker is the production. You don't really think about it, but it is the production of the buildings. We will see out of Carnage essentially what he did in Game 1, but this time getting up the third, actually, I don't know if it was a little bit earlier or a little bit later. I think at about the same time. We're definitely going to... I'm very curious to see how Carnage defends this, but I'm also curious to see if Creature will do the same thing. But really what he did is just send his first Zealot and his Mothership Core over, saw an opening, and took it.
Yeah, exactly, and I kind of think I expect to see a very similar thing here as well, if only because this third is way harder to defend.
Oh, most definitely.
You're down and up a whole ramp. He could place his proxy pylon in the middle and put pressure on both. It's hard for, like, the thing that made it even hesitant at all was 3 queens going over, and it's going to be really hard to send 3 queens over to your third base. They're just going to die. So,
yeah, 3 queens will slug it over, just barely zombie walking over there to try to see what's going to go on.
One difference, though, is this time speed is started a lot quicker, so that won't be as much of a disadvantage.
We do see, as we were saying, Mothership Core, Zealot moving out, 2 Lings spotted, and Zealot actually being pulled back, a little bit worried about that, though.
Yeah, doesn't want the 2 Lings running around. It would at least tip them off to kind of what the plan is. There's not 4 gates this time yet, at least. One probe.
He actually didn't go 4 gate originally. He only went 3 gate, then added a 4th. So, I mean, I literally we're seeing the exact same play out of both players. But Creature's saying, I'm taking an early third, and you can't do nothing about it in the meantime. And really, I like that, because Carnage really could put a lot of pressure on if he wanted to in the next couple minutes if he can defend the third. But also, as Carnage, you're like, he's not going to go for he can't go for a third and put on pressure. So I feel like he's kind of splitting up his strategy, at least here. And yes, it looks like Creature will be retreating from this, but Speedlings already done, running forward, may actually catch the Zealot out of position, but it looks like they will stop at the Zelnaga. I feel like he's a little bit split between strategies right here, as Ender.
Yeah, a little bit. I wonder if this was somewhat of a fake out by Creature in that he's actually taken his third base as well, and that's pretty early given the material he has to really defend that. If it was spotted right now by a group of Speedlings, there's no way that it would stay up.
Ooh, and will it be? Is it? Yep, spotted. Speedling wasn't... I was going to say, that was a beautiful Speedling split right there. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but in mid-run, 3 of them all going in different directions at the same time. Really cool. Only 3 sentries and a Zelda to defend this. Interesting force, but the main will be a low. Perfect pylon this time, not letting any in. And I'd love to see him move back and make 1 force field, literally force field them all in.
Yeah, trap everything.
Oh, come on. Oh, so close. Yeah, Carnage definitely was going on, though. I think that would have been a huge win for Creature if he can do that. Still sending 1 Ling to the third, though, just to be annoying. Off the back of this, +1 coming down for Creature. Kind of going to the standard macro game, but he really needs to make this third count, or it's gonna be very hard to come back.
Yeah, definitely. Unless he can really mine from it actively, it kind of serves as a liability for the time being. And unfortunately, with the loss of that pylon too, he's actually supply blocked, so he's not going to get really effective use out of it just yet.
Yeah. And he does have a photon overcharge though if he wants to use it, and he does now. I think he might have wanted to do that a little bit earlier, but it looks like he'll be working away at those. Some nice force fields actually, really not going that well for Carnage here, pushing a lot of those Lings out. And I'd kind of like to say, interesting, just thinking about it, that really Creature kind of, in the first game at least, he did the all-in, or not even an all-in, but just that really heavy pressure that won him the game, and that kind of caused Carnage to do the mind game of, oh, I need early Lings to be able to defend whatever he's going to do. But then Creature says, okay, I'm going to mind game you and take a third, which kind of didn't do so well for him because he did force out all those Lings early on from Carnage.
Yeah, now Roaches are in the picture here. He does still have the photon overcharge up. He's got another one in the bank, or in the core, I guess. Photon cannon just about to come up at the natural here.
Yeah, and he is doing another warping of units, but they're all stuck in his natural. The third right now, one cannon, and a photon overcharge does go down. That might be the only saving grace from this Nexus right here. Attempting to take out the cannon, going down. Now there's 6 Roaches right here, or 5 Roaches, but not enough Zealots in this position really can engage those, but 28 more Lings coming out of Carnage. He hasn't even fully saturated his natural and hasn't even done that to the third, and is really just putting everything he's got into this attack and throwing down Spire, so if this fails, or he can at least snipe the third, you're just not going to be in a good position.
Yeah, the Spire is really going to be kind of the uppercut in this one after the 1-2 punch of the Lings and Roaches. The last thing Creature wants to make right now is Stalkers. So he may be undercounted on those. The question will be how many mutas are going to come out, but yeah, he's got the main force here going after all the probes here in the mineral line. We'll clean a lot of them up. And his job here is just to hold back the economy again so that it's more expensive to actually get Stalkers out. Very little of this army shoots up. We got basically 2 sentries.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely does not want to make Stalkers in this composition. I mean, optimally he does versus the Mutalisks, but the Sentry Immortal just does not provide enough room for those Stalkers. But you do see, when the Protoss player in a PvZ like this goes into those Stalkers already when he has the army, they're just so strong. Because Stalkers really, later game not so good, but early game with the right composition can be really, really devastating. We do see Blink coming out for Creature. I feel like he has a little bit of an inclination about these Mutalisks, because you do see this quite common when the Zerg, whose Carnage does that early pressure, eventually turning into Mutas because you've caused your opponent to have to push out so many Zealots, so many Sentries.
Yeah, he probably does know that's the case. Obviously, he's preparing in that direction, but whether he's ready for 12 Mutalisks, which are coming out right now and will soon be converging on his base areas, and basically every mineral line is completely open at the moment. Not only that, but they're so far apart on this map. The army moving from one location to the other, even if he had the necessary army, is pretty rough. There comes the warp in the mineral line, but there are a lot of mutas. They may just stand and fight, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Yeah. Recall into the main again.
Recall into the main will actually cause all that or there'll be no photon overcharge, so it's going to be a little bit hard to do with. There's a whole bunch of probes following one probe of the natural. Will he see it? It doesn't look like he will see it. But at the same time, third base getting hit really, really hard by these Mutalisks. There's no photon overcharge, no teleport there, so it's going to not be in a good location. But there is 5 or 6 gateways here. There's some Warpins coming down, but only of Zealots. These Mutalisks will pretty much reign supreme here for right now. We do see an Overseer kind of coming along with the army saying, wait, DTs, anyone? Bueller, we do see the Mutalisks actually having to pull out right there. Nice Guardian shields, but only 5 or 6 Stalkers. These Stalkers have to be so careful because it's really the lifeline right now for Creature. Warping in a whole bunch more Stalkers, and they do have Blink now. DTs are actually coming out of Creature at the moment. And a Blink forward really aggressively, actually taking out a lot of these Mutas by Carnage. Sentries left in the Mothership Core only at 8 health. Wow, this is looking really, really scary for Creature right here. He's got nothing to defend.
Yeah, I think he realizes that he's broken him here enough. It may not be cost efficient, but it's working, and it is just kind of breaking his back.
Yeah, and it's definitely not fun as a Protoss player. Creature just having all his Zealots, all his big units, which are the Immortals, just getting slowly eaten away. Really right here, I feel like if Carnage went for the third, I mean, he can get away with just going for the third instead of picking off those Immortals, but looks like he's actually deciding to pick off the Immortals here. DT's just 10 seconds away, or really 15 seconds, because you do have the DT warp in. And at the same time, backhand side, of Creature's base. Ling's hitting those rocks, trying to get another angle, because these Mutalisks, he's not sure if they can quite do it, but he knows his opponent is on his last legs.
Yeah, with the Ling flood coming in here now, there's no way to really go out. He can't come down this ramp to go save that. Warpins now have to be Zealots instead of the Stalkers he needs. And the Mutas are actually going back to deal with the DT.
Although I'm very surprised that Creature's held on to this third base, even though there's nothing hiding there, obviously. And he's held on to it really well, and I love these gateways just denying any extra surface area to be attacked onto this Nexus. We do see the Mutas coming back, though. Now there's 26 Mutas here, actually 27 Mutas. This is going to be a lot of damage incoming right now. And there's literally just 2 Stalkers. I think this may actually just be GG right here. I don't know how he's going to defend this, especially with no Mothership Core.
Yeah,
and
the
no
Archon dead already. Yeah. That's
GG.
all the idea. Yeah.
Carnage takes game 2.
Hello. Here we are in game number 3 of this first series. It's been a good one so far, kind of going in 2 opposite directions. Up here on the top middle part of the map, I guess, it is from Team Ascension. He is Creature.
Creature kind of being indecisive in the first game, and his opponent in the bottom of this map, the player that really, I feel like he played that really well, and he responded. I want to say he responded to the overall, like, kind of, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm kind of stumbling over myself here. The overall idea of the games that have been played, he really responded well because he said, okay, my opponent did this, and I want to do this now, and I think that was really good. We have the Blue Zerg player playing for Boreal Gaming. It is Carnage. Still trying to think of that word. I always use it, yet it's eluding me in this moment. The overall arching...
The overarching concept?
Yeah, kind of concept. Or what I was going, though, essentially, is I feel like very often you'll see a player do the same thing over and over again, and he knows how to do that well, and obviously he knows how to do everything, but that's what he knows how to do well. But then there's the players that see what their opponent's doing, they say, okay, my opponent, he favors making a little bit more probes in the early game, so I do this, and just really reading your opponent well. I think that's more what I should have said. Carnage just read his opponent well, and had a good idea, and that ended up going really, really well for him, because Creature, a little bit indecisive there, and definitely, when you're decisive and your opponent's indecisive, you have a big lead in the game of StarCraft.
Yeah, for sure. And have you ever been in one of those situations, too, of you play away, you get beat, and then you know how you got beat, so you almost play the same way, hoping your opponent plays the same way, and then you can change something?
You're like, I know how to win this, please, I know how to win
this. You're like, I got caught making a third base, and it got punished, but I'm going to make a third base again, because I know how to stop you from punishing me this time. Yeah. And because all 3 games here, we've had Carnage go for this quite quick 3 hatches. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, but I feel like he's still responded well, as I was saying, game 2 making a lot of lings. We do see, though, Creature gets a completely full scout, seeing literally everything, knows what he's facing, and I'm curious what Creature's going to do in this. Taking the natural, playing very standard so far, but he does like his gateway expands, and that really lets him have the opportunity of aggression, and maybe not even aggression, but like your first Zealot in your Mothership Core, as long as your opponent's not doing some sort of really early speedling attack, they're pretty much free to do what they want on the field. And because of that, it's not even a commitment. It's saying, oh, well, maybe my Zealot will get caught, but if I at least have a sentry at home, I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you can hold it off for a little bit of time, then you're going to be pretty safe here. This time around, we've got... So Carnage, again, going for the 3 hatches, but not getting gas this time, so he's not going to have that early speed as he did in game number 2, but maybe once again he's counting on that sort of adaptation of, I had it this time, maybe you won't be aggressive. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be the case. Creature, is going for his own third instead of being aggressive, and this one's even earlier than the previous game.
Yeah, in at least Challenger League so far, I cannot remember the player. It eludes me at the moment, but there was another Protoss player who was like, are you serious? You're being that greedy? But he ended up winning a lot of games, but just very, very greedy. And I'd also like to point out, I really like from Carnage, the Overlord in the very top of Creature's base. Originally, or actually originally poked into Creature, right into Creature's base, and I really like that, just that ability that he is being, okay, I'm a little bit worried about this right here and trying to scout off.
Yeah, and he will do that little diagonal run through to see what is going on. See a couple sentries that are
Should
out.
take it out if they want to,
Yeah.
but still getting some nice move in there. We see the Forge going down right now actually going down a while ago for Creature, but trying to get into that macro game, and I think really I'm curious to see what's going to come out of him, because in the first 2 games we saw really no macro game. We saw him defending a third and him being aggressive, so I'm curious how he's going to play this style out.
Yeah, good. The Roach Warren coming out for Carnage here. He is throwing Spore Crawlers down in each mineral line, or not at the third yet, but in natural and main to be safe against anything that may come there. He's poked in the edges, but hasn't been able to go the full way through the base, so he isn't sure whether anything's hidden.
Yeah. Big black spot right there. He pretty much hasn't scouted anything right of the Forge and is a little bit worried about some sort of Stargate play, which I think would make sense.
Yeah,
If
and
you're
there's a
playing
hallucinated
counter-defensive.
oracle.
Yeah. I was saying, I've seen this more and more. I love that. Everyone would do Hallucinated Phoenix, but now that I think about it, if you really know what you're scouting for, it's a little bit slower, but then your opponent's like, oh crap, Stargate, or oh crap, I need to defend this. And it looks like it will be taken down and is shown as hallucinated. So right now Carnage is being like, oh, do I trust it? Do I not trust it? So it's an interesting position for Carnage to be in. I'm curious how he's going to respond.
Yeah, does still get the scout off, as you said. And yeah, I love doing the hallucinated oracle, particularly right before a real oracle.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I don't
Gives
need to
them
worry
that
about it.
sense, yeah.
False sense of hope. Lair coming down for Carnage, actually about 2/3 of the way done, getting down there, and I think really he's doing this nice attack, but he's preparing for the next wave. He's saying, okay, I'm going to hit you, and then I'm going to be ready for what you're going to try to counter me with, which I really love. Good thinking, proactive. Ling's rushing in. There's a lot of sentries, though. They really don't want to be caught off guard. One Immortal out now, but there's just so many sentries. Photon Overcharge does go down. Kind of preemptive force field doesn't do much. Ling's running out. Roach is just congregating on the edge, but nothing can hit this Mothership Core. Mothership Core pretty much can scout whatever it wants, sees where the armory position is, and right now Carnage really has to wait for Photon Overcharge to stop, or else he's going to get force fielded in, and that Photon Overcharge is going to hit again, and just wipe out his Lings.
Yeah, just kind of taking a shelling from the outside here. +1 attack is down for the Protoss, making everything a little bit more effective. Lings try to come in, but again, a good SimCity by Creature. Nice force fields, keeping the Lings out, and then backing them off around this pylon.
Immortal comes
Yeah,
out.
Immortal popping out in a fortunate position, but he's not going to get punished for it because everything else is stuck.
Yeah, that was eight roaches in a 1 roach spot right there that
Yeah.
were freaking out with those forces right there. Right now, Creature regrouping, essentially getting out a Warp Prism, and he is going to be very, very aggressive soon. Carnage on the complete retreat here. He does have a 4th base going down, and he has Spire almost completely done. So it looks like if Carnage can hold for a little while, I think he's going to be in a really good position like we saw in Game 1, because there just was no anti-air at all in the army of Creature.
Yeah, for sure, and he's got the Hydra Den done there as well too. So, if he can alternate between the two, rip up the gateway units that he has to, and then go in with the mutas in the back. And it's really hard to get to that back in base natural. It's just so long to actually walk to it or get any defensives established for it.
Yeah. But we do see from Carnage actually starting to go into Hydralisks. Maybe the Spire is just a safety net he's got up. Creature trying to posture to move in, and I like the Stalkers in the front. Generally, since there is no Zealots, I'd love to see a few Zealots in this composition since he is at 700 minerals, but it doesn't look like we'll see it. Lings going around actually may take out the pylons, but I mean, there's 2 proxy pylons of Warp Prison. I don't think they should be doing that right now. 4th base will be taken down. More Lings just going to try to take out any reinforcement points that Creature has, but still he has the proxy pylon right there. Blink about 3/4 of the way done. Weapons for Protoss Creature is almost done, but these Hydras have amazing concave here. Time Warp goes down. Drone's trying to be pulled, and they're not actually being killed right now. Creature's really at a choke point, and he's choked himself off here, which really not a good idea for him. But Hydra's trying to posture for another engagement right here. 11 more Hydras coming out. Blink is almost done, though, and once that Blink's done, these Hydras are not going to be in a good position.
Yeah, for sure. He's trying to set up some sort of flank here, but there's not too many Lings in the other group. It's a good handful, but the size of Creature's army is quite large. Again, trying to set another concave with the Hydras. to make the force fields much less effective, which they certainly will help with.
Yeah, definitely trying. Concave is moving in now. Ling's flanking. 2 force fields on the left-hand side, more force fields on the bottom, forcing out a lot of these Hydralisks, but Hydralisks with +1 range don't quite actually get pushed out by these force fields right here. Engaging on the right-hand side, though, but it looks pretty grim right now for Carnage. Pumping out 13 more Hydras, pumping out more Lings, but these Blink Stalkers by creature do have Blink now, or kind of a little redundant there. Blink Stalkers have Blink, but they will be having a great position here. I'm guessing force field off the ramp, taking that third right here. Drones being pulled, trying to desperately come after these Immortals. 2 Hydralisks on the right-hand side working away. Hydralisks on the bottom working away. The third will I'm sure is going to go down here. Stalkers blinking back. Some nice blink micro. Immortal does go down, but really, Blink Stalkers versus so few Hydras. It's looking scary and scary. Creature GG. Creature takes game 2, going 2-1 versus Carnage. I think that was actually really cool.